into so many of the themes that we're going to hear and discuss today. Where's David? I'm going to borrow your term, the surging economies, to introduce our next topic and the focus of this upcoming conversation. The untapped future of investment opportunities from quite an unconventional perspective. It's basically the unique viewpoint of indigenous investors from the global south and the global east, countries that we don't usually hear from, especially when it comes to investment opportunities. Now, this panel is going to discuss, it's a fireside chat at first, and then it's going to go into a panel with experts to discuss the role of diversification in investment and to highlight the future-looking portfolio opportunities and challenges when it comes to cross-regional investments. To moderate this talk, I am truly honored to introduce a visionary as well as the co-founder of the Superbridge Council. She's also the executive chairman and chief investment officer of VS Partners. She wears many hats. She's a driving force behind connecting the world's emerging leaders from the fast-growing economies. And she was also named Fortune China's most powerful woman on the list of 2022 for her pioneering leadership in bringing endowment approach global asset allocation to China. Please welcome Vanessa Chu.
For the kind introduction, and on behalf of the Superbridge Council, truly welcome and honored to have all the guests here today to celebrate the inauguration of this amazing platform. So let me first of all invite my fireside chat partner, Mr. Takashi Murakami. He is the Chief Investment Officer of one of the largest Asia asset management company, Asset Management One from Japan. Please welcome him. So, Takashi-san, can I ask you how frequently you travel to the Middle East region in your job?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Takashi Mariyama from Tokyo. Actually, before COVID, I frequently come to Middle East, at least once a year.
Okay. So a regular traveler to the region, but once a year is not regular enough. And in terms of investment, Japan has long been dubbed with the narrative of the lost decades. And perhaps people are familiar with the demographic trends, with the very dominance of the banks. But the Japanese capital markets have been going through some changes that might not quite be well understood by the outer world in the recent years. And only until Warren Buffett invested in a group of large conglomerates in Japan market in the recent years. So as you lead one of Japan's largest investment firm overseeing all asset classes and strategies, what do you want to tell our audiences? What are the changes foundationally happening from the macro perspective and the micro perspective in Japan?
Sure. Thank you for the question. Actually, I'm really happy to be here today because, like simply speaking, Japan has been somewhat neglected, unfortunately, last, I think, like 10 years. But finally, things is changing now. Vanessa, as you said, like, from macro perspective, there's many first things in 20 years, first thing in 30 years, this type of thing is happening. Let me give you an example later. And like micro perspective, finally, Japanese company are willing to take a serious action to increase the corporate value. So I have many friends who love Japan. But in that case, like, Japanese, like sightseeing, or like Tokyo, or Osaka, or like Niseko, or like a Japanese product. But unfortunately, I didn't see many like international friends who love Japanese stock. But finally, it is changing now. But in terms of like in the macro example, maybe like a Japan GDP would be largest, like historically in this year, and capital expenditure also is almost historical high, and like most important thing is like wage growth. That is like more like a term, like wage growth is reached like more than 3% this year. It is almost a historical high.
So macroeconomic growth, wage growth are re-happening after decades of dullness in the market. And can you elaborate a little bit more of what are the drivers of these changes, including the corporate governance that surfaces corporate value, and tell us that has been talked about for a decade as now, but sometimes the media reported and it went away. Is this time real?
Sure. Yeah, the like trigger was like a Tokyo Stock Exchange like initiative. Actually, this year in May, like a Tokyo Stock Exchange, like gave a huge pressure to the almost all listed company about like to increase like a corporate value of the corporate value. But that is big like a history about that. If we look back, like year 2014, the like a stewardship code was enacted in Japan, and 2015, like a corporate governance code was established in Japan. Under corporate governance code, of course, like a code has guided like almost all listed company to increase like a corporate value. But that is kind of, of course, that is not there's no enforcement, just like a comply or explain type of code. So that's why under that like corporate governance code, like a Japanese company, to be really frank with you, like has not took like a serious action to increase corporate value.
So
But
can I just follow up on that point?
right.
Last time it was not, it was just a reporting. And what makes the Japanese corporates and many of the Japanese corporates actually have created a global brand that the audience are familiar with? And this time, what makes these corporates be willing to make real changes to surface the corporate value and benefit the shareholders?
Right. So the question is like,
What this time makes this corporate really be willing and committed to make real changes that benefit the shareholders' value?
transparency. Actually, like the Japanese, the how should I say, like Japanese like company or like a society hate that I am like behind, right?
Pure competition.
Yeah, fair competition. Like like maybe like in the all over the world, maybe you would like to become number one, right? I'd like to become number one. And in the past, Japanese company did the same thing. But right now, like of course, there's a few company which apply this type of like a mindset, but many Japanese company again hate I am behind the the competition. And this time, like in a Tokyo Stock Exchange made a increase like a transparency about the company's like a corporate value situation. So that's a kind of big driver for
So
that.
it's a very strong cultural reason that drove this foundational change that shareholders from all around the world can benefit. So what are the common mistakes that you think when you travel around the world and meet investors, the common mistakes that international investors outside of Japan doesn't speak Japanese make about the market?
I don't think they make like a mistake, but maybe important thing for like overseas investor to invest in Japan, like you need like patience. Like for example, like a corporate governance code, as I said, like it was established almost 10 years ago. But like like last 10 years, still almost half of Japanese listed company are trading at less than book value. That's problem. But finally it is changing. It's 10 years later, right?
So investing in Japan requires a longer time horizon and more patience.
That's right.
And can you tell us what do you think, looking forward, the most significant opportunities from Japan to the global investors?
Significant opportunity in 10 years in Japan.
Yes.
So I think in order for us to think about that, like an important question to us is, what can Japanese company play important role for like a global supply chain? From that perspective, I think, do they have like a worldwide technology? And is there like a lot of demand for the product made by using that technology? From that perspective, I think like a factory automation related and like a semiconductor related, like is really like a key factor or key like a point for that like next 10 years.
Thank you. That's a very good segue of us leading to the panel discussion, which you will remain on the stage to join us to talk about the regional integration and what are the opportunities provided to Japan as an Asian developed country. Please just remain on the stage.
Thank you very much.